Hello students, and welcome back to another algebra video. You know what to do. Pause the video, try these problems in your notes, and then unpause them to do them with me. So, solve the inequality, graph the solution. Solve means get m by itself, so we're going to do the opposite of minus 3, and we're going to add 3 to both sides of our inequality symbol. Keep it balanced, so m is less than or equal to 5 plus 3, which is 8. So we have solved the inequality. Now let's graph it. We have 0. We have the number we care about, which is 8. We put a circle on 8, and we are going to color in that circle because m is less than or equal to 8. Now, m is less than or equal to 8. What are some numbers that are less than 8? Well, 0 is less than 8. Negative 5 is less than 8. So our arrow will point towards all of the numbers that are less than negative 8. Arrow points. Ta-da! Let's do the next one. Solve for k. So I'm going to subtract, whoops, not k. Not k, we're trying to get k by itself, so we're going to subtract by 5 on both sides. K is less than or equal to negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. K is by itself, so we have successfully solved the inequality, but wait, we also need to graph. So we have 0, we have negative 8. We're going to put a circle on negative 8, and it will be colored in because k is less than or equal to negative 8. Now, what are some numbers that are less than or equal to negative 8? So, let's see. Negative 8 is less than or equal to negative 8, but that doesn't help us because that doesn't tell me which way to point my arrow. So, let's see. Negative 10 is less than or equal to negative 8. And that is right here on our number line, which means that my arrow will point this way. And I make it nice and bold so you know exactly which way I'm pointing. All right, there you have it. If you were right, awesome. And if you were wrong, maybe check out the video, last video, again. Or ask a teacher or something. But what we have for today is moving on to section 2.3, which is solving inequalities using multiplication or division. So you'll notice a pattern. Chapter 1, we solved equations with addition or subtraction, and then multiplication or division. We are doing the same thing with chapter 2. We solved inequalities using addition and subtraction. Now we're going to do it using multiplication or division. So the learning target is that you know what negative numbers do when solving an inequality. Ooh, negative numbers. And the success criteria is that you can solve inequalities using multiplication or division. So, important information. Multiplication and division properties of inequality. When c is greater than 0. So what this means is when you multiply or divide by a positive number. So now when we added and subtracted, it didn't matter if it was positive or negative, it didn't matter at all. But now that we are multiplying and dividing, it does matter if you're dealing with positive numbers or negative numbers. So first, we're going to look at positive numbers, and then we're going to look at negative numbers. So when you multiply or divide by a positive number, it's exactly like normal. It's just like normal. If I have 3 is greater than 1, if I multiply both sides by 2, I get 6 is greater than 2. That is still true. Still true. So, you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about anything changing with positive numbers. It is negative numbers that will act a little bit differently. So, let's look at example 1, multiplying or dividing by positive numbers. So, we'll look at a first. X over 8 is greater than negative 5. Remember, when the 8 is on the bottom, it means x divided by 8. So to get x by itself, we will do the opposite of divide, and we will multiply by 8. Oh, wait a minute! Our inequality is unbalanced. We need to multiply by 8 on both sides. So that goes away. And we have x is greater than -5 times 8 is -40. Now, don't worry about this negative number. You only have to worry when you are multiplying or dividing by a negative number. So because we multiplied, the number that we were multiplying was 8, and it was positive. So you're okay. Just because there's a negative number doesn't mean you have to freak out. Okay, so x is greater than -40. All right, now let's graph. We have 0. We have -40. Here's what I mean. You don't want to write everything in between 0 and 40. You don't want to write every single little tick mark. So just put 0 and -40. We know there's numbers in between there. All right, a circle around -40. And x is greater than -40. It is bigger. Numbers that are bigger than -40 appear on the right. Things that are bigger are on the right. So our arrow points that way. Okay, there is part A, all done. Now let's take a look at B. We have -24 is greater than or equal to 3x. Now I want to get x by itself, so I have 3 times x. Opposite of times is divide. Do it to both sides. Make sure you do it to both sides. -24 divided by 3 is -8, greater than or equal to x. Now, if you want to pick this inequality up and turn it around, you totally can, and we can do x is less than or equal to -8. These inequalities are the exact same thing. It's just like I picked it up and turned it around. That's all I did. But this, you might say, is easier to graph because, remember, when the variable's on the left side, the arrow does point in the exact same direction as the inequality. So, let's graph this one. We've got 0, we've got -8. Circle around that is colored in because it is less than or equal to. And now, because x is on the left, we just know inequality points this way, arrow points this way, because the variable is on the left. If you want to think about it and say, what is smaller than -8? Oh, well, -10 is less than -8. So yeah, we should still be pointing that way, because everything less than -8 is on the left. And there you have it. Example 1, done and dusted. All right. Let's check and make sure we were correct. -40 greater than, beautiful, and -8 less than, beautiful. We were right. Okay. Ooh, important information. Very important, because now C is less than 0, which means we're talking about negative numbers. Multiplying or dividing. Multiply or divide by negative numbers and things change. Because watch this. 3 is greater than -2. True statement, right? But watch what happens. If I multiply by -1 on both sides, now I have -3 is greater than +2. What? Wait a minute. That's not right. -3 is not bigger than 2. No, 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 no. So what happens when you multiply by a negative number is you must flip the sign. Always, 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 always. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, your inequality symbol flips. It goes from this to this. It flips. anytime you multiply or divide by a negative number. And it is for this exact reason. If you don't flip it, you get something incorrect. You end up with -3 is bigger than +2. That's not right. Every time that you don't flip the sign, you get something that's wrong. So we have to flip the sign. So let's see an example of that in action. We'll do A first. 2 is less than y divided by -3. I need to get y by itself, which means I need to multiply by -3 on both sides. Both sides. I almost forgot. That gets rid of it on this side, and now I have -3 times 2 is -6. Less than? No! Remember, we have to flip the sign. So now it goes from less than, flips to greater than y. And then the y stays by itself. Okay, so make sure if I multiplied by a negative number, which means the sign flips. The sign flips. Okay, so there we have it. Remember, we need to graph each solution. So, number line 0, -6. And remember that if I take this whole inequality, pick it up, and turn it around, I can get y is less than -6. And that might make it a little bit easier to graph this, because then the inequality points in the exact direction that my arrow should. But again, you can always just think about it in terms of y is smaller than -6. What's a number smaller than -6? -8. So it's going to point towards -8. Okay, let's do part B. -7y is less than or equal to -35. -7 times y, opposite of times, is divide. So I'm going to divide by -7 on both sides, always both sides. And now y is greater than or equal to, because we flip our sign. And if you need to do this during your math tests to remember, that's okay. It's a math dance move. It's good. All right, and -35 divided by -7 is +5. So there you have it. There is our inequality. And let's graph it. 0, 5. Circle around 5, color it in, because y is greater than or equal to 5. And y is bigger than 5. What are some numbers that are bigger than 5? Well, 10, 7, 18, all of those are in this direction, so our arrow will point this direction. Ta-da! Okay, let's make sure we were correct. -6 is greater than y. We can flip it around, and beautiful. That's what our graph looked like. Y is greater than -5. That's what our graph looked like. Yay! We were correct. All right. Cool. That is what I have for you today. We multiplied and divided by positive numbers, and that was exactly the same. Then we multiplied and divided by negative numbers, and that meant that you had to do the cool math dance move of flipping your inequality sign. So, remember, negative numbers are weird when you got inequalities, but only when I am multiplying or dividing by those negative numbers. Okay? Do you have questions? If so, make sure that you get them answered, please. Please. It will help you learn if you get your questions answered. So ask those. Same as usual, some practice problems you can do if you want to practice the skills you have learned in this video. And as always, we will end with a launch from Jennifer Lopez. And it says, you get what you give. So what that means is, if you're always take, that's what you get, is what you take, right? But if you give to other people, if you're kind to other people, you're going to get kindness back. If you're sassy and rude to other people, you might get sassy and rudeness back. So, if you give gifts to other people, you might not necessarily get gifts back, but hey, sometimes people don't even know that you want a gift, or that you want a gift for them until you initiate by giving a gift. So, give the things that you want to receive. If you want kindness, be kind. If you want patience, be patient. You get what you give. And it's kind of ridiculous to expect that people are kind to you if you're not kind to them. If you're a butt, if you're a jerk to everybody, why would they be nice to you? If you want people to be nice to you, be nice to other people. So, that is my launch for you. Take it with you as you go throughout your day. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Bye.